This will be a quick intro and then I'll get right into post-commentary about what I'm actually doing. This is Make a Good Mega Man Level 3. All you need to know is that there are user-submitted levels that are judged and ranked, and this level, called X6MEME, came in dead last out of the levels that were deemed acceptable for inclusion. It's as bad as things can get without the judges just cutting it out of the game entirely. After talking to other players, this level seems to take around an hour or more if you're playing normally, which means using the dozen or so special weapons that the game gives you to play around with. But I'm not playing normally, I'm only using the Mega Buster, the basic little lemon gun, and nothing else. I've disabled all the unlockable upgrades, I don't use any yearn tanks, I'm raw dogging it, and it was miserable, but I wanted to see if it can be done, and as it turns out it can be done, but I don't think the level creator ever intended it to be, for reasons that you'll see later. I have the Sunstar skin equipped, which doesn't affect my hitbox or anything in any way. The skin is actually much larger than Mega Man, which leads to some funny looking situations where bullets go through his forehead, but that's normal. Overall, this took me a little over 2 hours to do start to finish. I started cutting a video of all my deaths together, but I quickly realized that it wasn't going to be worth the effort, so I have no idea how many times I actually died. Here, I'm waiting for this red sniper Joe to jump, because it's the only way I can hit him up here safely. Despite holding a shield out in front of him, he doesn't deflect during the jump, though that's not the level maker's fault. He was just born that way. Thankfully, we're at the first checkpoint. This next stretch is much easier than what came before it. Less pits, less enemies. Still died here a few times, but it's a welcome break after the rough start. This section, which I'll just call the climb, is probably what most people know this level for, and probably where they decided it's time to skip the level. In the first part of the level, you could get away with using Rush Jet or something to fly over everything, but in here there's only so much you can do to cheese it, and with only the Buster, there's even less options. This Sniper Joe seems to always jump when I get to him on this cycle, which is really convenient to slip past him, but damage boosting is also a fine way to get through him. You need a little bit of HP by the end to do a damage boost, but there's a fair bit of wiggle room till then to take some hits. This run wasn't perfect, but it was good enough. It was here on my winning attempt that I actually learned what hitting that switch down there does. I've always been activating it just because it was there, but it isn't clear what it activates since the door it brings down isn't loaded yet when you see it. I have to run back and hit it before preparing for the first mandatory damage boost of the run. Thankfully, this bat helps me out and I have just enough iframes to stand on the spikes and get up to the final obstacle. If you play this section normally, you end up on the right side and you aren't going to be able to reach the block switch with the Buster. The switch I was standing on before boosting doesn't toggle these blocks, only this switch up here does, which is why I needed to boost to get up on the left side. I'm gonna fast forward through this next section at 16 times speed because I quickly hit a wall here, or a ceiling, I guess. The little ledge above the blue block keeps gimping my jumps, and I spent almost 4 minutes here trying to brute force it. I was gonna be devastated if I couldn't find a way without a weapon, so I just kept going. This obstacle is extremely sneaky because if you don't shoot the switch after jumping off the blue block, you're likely to fall into the spike row below the red blocks, which is why I shoot a lemon to toggle it back and catch me if I mess up. After all that trial and error, I somehow, by grace of God, managed to get it by sliding and then jumping off the blue block. I have no idea if that actually helps. I don't even know why I decided to do it, but it works. It's doable. I get there and grab the third checkpoint. Upcoming is the next mandatory damage boost, which is conveniently activated by the crusher here. The pit is just shallow enough where I can jump out of it. Otherwise, you need to use a special weapon like Rust Jet or Magna Beam to do that. In this last stretch, you can tell I'm just trying to get this over with. I'm just running through things as much as I can because I want out. All that wasn't enough. The level creator gifts us a dragon to vanquish before we're dismissed here. It's not horrible, but it's not very fair either. After him, we are free.